Hello my friends, today I'm going to show you how to make cool boxes like this that has 6 sides. I made this one, I'll show you how to make, and then also this one over here. So really cool boxes. This is basically the same design as this one, it's just the sides. You see these ones are very wide and these ones are very narrow, and then we get a shape like this. So that has a triangular shape, and this one looks something like this. And I'll show you how I did those inlays. The lid sits with the rabbit, and really easy to do. I will be using Birds Mouth Joinery for this. Now if you're not familiar with router bits, you can usually buy them in sets of 3 like this. This one makes a 6-sided shape and a 12-sided shape. This one makes an 8-sided shape, and this is 16-sided shape. Now the 2 boxes I showed you, they are 6-sided shape, so it has the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The same with this one, 6-sided, 3 large sides and 3 small sides. For the 8-sided shape, a few months ago, I made this box over here. We're using Birds Mouth Joinery, and you can see I use 4. These 2 are the same size, and these 2 are the same size, and 4 corners that are all the same. And that is 8-sided shape box. I thought it ended up really cute. For the 12-sided shape, I also showed you how to make this bowl using the Birds Mouth Joinery just a few months ago. So you can go watch that video, really easy to make a nice bowl, 12-sided shape. So, but today I'm gonna focus on the 6-sided shape and we'll make these boxes. Now there's one more thing I want to share with you today. Other than the router bit and how to make these boxes, I want to show you a new finish I've been using. And let me just wipe it because I just used it and it's all oily. And this is not sponsored, they didn't send me this. I purchased this with my own money. I got it on Amazon. I'll put a link to them in the description below if you're interested. But I've been using this walrus furniture oil and butter. And I've really been liking this. I also have one for cutting boards, and that one is really good as well. So I'm going to show you those and how to make the boxes. Now here are the boards I'm working with. I have a walnut piece, and then I have this product that I laminated. I glued 2 pieces of maple on each side. You see over here, and these things are the same thickness, which is about, let's see, it's about 3/8. So 3/8 on thickness. This one is, let's see how wide. This one is about 2.5 inches wide. And this one is 4.5 inches wide. The length doesn't matter. I'll tell you what it is. This is about 21.5 inches. But we will only be using really a tiny piece from it. So 2 boards. This is what's gonna make our box. And then I have no idea how I'm gonna do the bottom or the lid. I'll come up with it as I go. Right now I'm just excited to see these 2 pieces together forming the box. So the first thing I need to do now is take this to the router table and create my bird's mouth edges. Now the way a bird's mouth edge works, joint I should call it, not an edge. You see I have this scrap of wood that I used it to set up my router. So this is what the bird's mouth looks like, and I did it on both sides. And when you do this kind of joinery, you really only need one side to have the bird's mouth joinery for every seam. So you can either do one side and this one side of this one, and then just kind of put them like this. So you will have one that has the bird mouth and one that doesn't. And then when they meet together, they create a perfect seam like this. Can you see that? Let's see. So you could do that. You can have each one of your boards with one of these bird's mouth edges. I like to do both of my bird's mouth edges on one piece and then leave the other one with just the 90-degree sides like this. So take this board to the router table and run both sides and create that bird's mouth edge profile. let's go do that. You see me putting this bird's mouth profile now. I have it on both sides of this board. Now it did leave a little bit of little hairline fuzziness in here. So I will take a 220 sandpaper and just gently rub it just to get rid of those hairs. I don't need to sand anything down. It's just to really clean it up a little bit. So just very gently. So now if we look at our joint, the way it will come together, this one does not have a profile on it, but this one has a profile on each end. So now when they go together, let me move out of the frame so the camera will focus. We'll get this really cool angle. So that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm getting. Now we gotta move to the next step. The next step is to cut these boards. I need 3 of each, 3 of these guys, 3 of these guys, because the bird's mouth router bit that we use, it's a 6-sided. You can do 6 or 12-sided, but I do have it set up for 6. So that means we will have 6 sides. That means we need to cut 3 of this and 3 of this. I'm gonna do that at the table saw. I'm gonna use a stop block, and all 6 pieces has to be the same length, because whatever the length is, that's gonna be the height of my box. So I think I'm gonna go with maybe 2.5 inches. I don't want my box to be too deep, so we'll go with around 2.5 inches. I'm gonna go to the table saw. We'll do this. All right, now I have my 6 pieces. There you go. Forgot one on my sled. So I have 6 pieces, 3 of this and 3 of this. They will go together like this. So you see whatever we cut, that is going to be the height of our box. So now it's time for the glue up. All right, here is our pieces, 6 pieces. And by the way, I bought this gluing mat on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description below if you're interested. It's very, very handy and easy to clean up. The glue just peels off of it. For the glue, I'll be using Tide Bound 3. I just have it here in a ketchup bottle. I'm gonna put some in this little container. But hold on, first let's put our blue tape on. I'll be using the blue tape as clamps, so let's get all situated. I'm gonna turn my walnut pieces down. And oh, you guys, I forgot to mention, I already pre-sanded my boards while they were in one long piece, because it's so much easier to sand when they're one long piece versus, you know, tiny pieces like this. So I'm putting the tape on the longer piece. Make sure they're all even and pull on the tape as I overlap it over this piece. So you see, this is going to be like a clamp. I'm going to be able to put the glue in there and close it. And that's the way this is going to work. Moving on. Of course, I'll need another tape for the very end to close the loop. Now, usually I have some acid-free brushes for spreading the glue in there. But I'll be honest with you, I cleaned out my shop the other day and I put them somewhere very safe. So safe I cannot find them. So I just went and stole a little brush from my kids' arts crafts things. So I'm gonna use that to really spread the glue in there. I hope that works. So I'm gonna put some glue into this dish. I don't need much. And let's apply the glue onto my joints. All right, and now what we need to do is to roll it up. So let's see, just like that. Everything should go perfectly, and it looks like it does. That means we set up the router perfectly. I'm going to get a wet wipe, wipe my hands, wipe the joints. All right, let's see. This is what it looks like, our joint. Kind of an odd shaped box. We'll see what it looks like in the end. I could not find a tighter rubber band, so I'm just gonna use this loop belts. Just gonna put it around it. Let's see. There you go. Nice tight pressure. Got some more glue squeeze out. Gotta clean it up. And this is the way our joints are looking. Very tight joints. Everything fits right. Now I'm gonna let this dry overnight because it's evening. I gotta go cook some dinner. And we'll come back tomorrow and we'll come up with a design for the lid. We'll make a bottom for it. Now I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to make the lid, but here is a 1/2-inch board of walnut. So I'll be using that one, and I marked it over here. I'm just gonna cut this chunk off. I'm gonna use this for the lid. Then what else I did is I cut a couple of strips of maple and one of padauk. And what I'm going to do is sandwich these guys together. Maybe I use this bigger one. Let's see. Something like that. So I'm going to sandwich it, make it like this. And once I cut my blank from the walnut, I'm going to take it to the bandsaw and I'm just going to cut a curve. Nothing really comes to mind. I'm just going to draw a curve like free-handed and go cut it at the bandsaw. Then I'm going to sandwich these 3 pieces into the curve that I cut, and I'm going to glue it back together. And I'm going to let it sit overnight, so then tomorrow when I come, we'll see where we are and if we need to add something or leave it as it is. Now, before I went to bed, I was looking at my box and I was not very happy with the shape of it. I feel like there was something wrong with the dimensions. Maybe it was too big. Maybe the sides were too wide. I don't know what it was, but I wasn't 100% pleased with it. So I quickly put together one more box with the scraps of wood that I had left. And for this one, I made this side's a lot smaller, so it has a lot more triangular shape. So I thought that was better. As for the lid, just the one inlay didn't look right, so I added 2 more thin ones of just maple just to make it a little bit more interesting. So that's what I did. Same procedure, just, cut it at the bandsaw, sandwich a little strip of maple, glue it up, let it dry, cut it again, put another strip of maple. Then I placed my box on top of the material that was going to become my lids, and I traced it with a marker and cut those at the bandsaw. That's how I ended up with the lid shape. Now when I cut the tops of the bandsaw, I cut them a little bit on the outside of my marker, so they're a little bit oversized. And then I used some double sticky tape to place it, to attach the lid temporarily to the box. And then with a flush trim router bit, I went around the edges to make sure this thing is going to be exactly the same size and shape of the box. Now, in order to place my bottom into the box, I use this rabbiting bit from Whitetail, and I love this thing. I use it so often. And I use this on my router table and created a rabbet all around the bottom so I can fit my bottom into it. The bottom, I created just like the lid, traced with a marker around it and cut it on the bandsaw and then just glue it on the bottom. Now, in order to make my lid fit into the box, I had to create a rabbet onto my lid. I couldn't use the router bit because I wasn't sure how far I have to go into the lid in order to fit properly. So the way I created the rabbeting into the lid is by using the table saw, and I used a sacrificial fence, and then I put the blade to a little bit higher than half thickness of my material, and I ran every side through the table saw. And then that gave me a very shallow rabbet. And then I moved the fence just a little bit further. I went again and again and until my lid fit properly onto my box. Now, after all of this, I sanded smooth, like I already pre-sanded all my boards prior to cutting them into small pieces. So I just had to do a 220 all around it and make sure you break down all these sharp edges so it feels nice to the touch. And then because I was not so great at cutting my bottom exactly to fit into the rabbet, I will show you what I mean by that. For example, I'll show you on this one. You see I had little gaps and I filled them with sawdust and glue, but it has a different shade now there, even though I used the walnut sawdust. Same thing happened to this box, and I left this one like this just so you can see it, that, you know, my boxes are not perfect. That's why I don't sell them. But in order to hide that mistake onto this box, I used some India ink and I painted this side of the bottom that was on the edge. And by painting it with India ink, which is very, very black, like a jet black, now it's covering those different tones where I filled in the gaps. So now it looks all one tone, so you can never see that I actually had some little gaps that I filled in, because they are all black now, so you don't see the difference in color, and it doesn't look like I have any gaps. Now I did them a little bit different for these boxes. For this one, the rabbiting bit, they're both a 1/4 inch deep, the rabbet, But for this one, I chose a 1/2 inch material, so that way it sticks out on the bottom and creates that shadow effect like feet. So that's what I did on this one. And for this one, it's just flash with the box. So I use a 1/4 inch bottom because I had a 1/4 inch rabbit, and it does not have that shadow line. Now it's time to apply the finish. For the finish, I'll be using a product that is fairly new to me. I only used it one other time before, and that is this walrus oil for furniture. Now, these people, they make 2 of them. They make, this one is for furniture, and then they have one specifically for cutting boards. So I have both of them, but I'll be using the one for furniture. And this one, it's made, if you're wondering, let's see. There's all kinds of good oils in it. All right, so it has tung oil, sunflower oil, hemp oil. So all good stuff. And then this one, this is wax and oil mixed together for a smooth finish. Now, of course, as soon as I start filming, my workers started doing work as well. So they're making a lot of noise. I apologize. We just have to work through it. So I'll start with the oil. I'll be using this little white spongy applicator, and let's see what it looks like. I'm just going to pour a little bit straight into my workpiece, just like that. And then with this applicator, I'm going to rub it into my finish. Now you are supposed to just let this oil sit on your piece of furniture for 24 hours, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm going to rub it in and wipe it out. We'll put the wax, you know. I don't have that kind of time. Here is what our boxes look like after the oil. And now I'm going to go on and apply the wax. Let's see what this wax looks like. So this looks like this. It's a wax and oil mixed together. So I'm going to rub this in, and I'll see you right after. I'll show you the final product. So this is what it looks like all done now. It's still wet. I just finished putting the wax on it, and I did decide to give it a really quick sanding while it was wet before I put the wax with some 1500 grit sandpaper, and that really made a difference. It made it like so smooth. It feels like glass. So that is that box, and then here is this one over here. I thought it ended up really cute. I hope this was helpful to you and you learned something new. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Skylar Ewing, and I'll see you in my next video.